Kinsler looks at a ball outside, 1-1, and now he's been thrown out of the game. How about that?
All he did was look at it.
Wow. Angel Hernandez apparently has had enough of Kinsler. He's thrown him out mid at bat, and he threw him out after a ball was called.
All Ian did was turn around to look at him to see if he was going to call it a strike, and he didn't like the way he looked at it.
And the former Ranger now has been ejected from the game.
Ian Kinsler didn't like the call. Angel Hernandez, one of the few umpires / referees who we actually know their name. I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem when you know an umpire's name or you know a referee's name. They should actually have no bearing on outcomes of games if guys get tossed. And it begs the question, because Ian Kinsler was pissed after this game. Just go find another job. We actually don't even need those guys. I agree with Ian Kinsler. Why have umpires when you have now a permanent strike zone that shows you where every single pitch is going in or out of the zone?
Just to be clear, I think Ian Kinsler wants Angel Hernandez out of the game. I don't know. I haven't heard his specific feelings on human umpiring or not. I think a lot of people have beef with Angel Hernandez. I completely agree with you. He's been a problem in the game for many years. He thinks people come to see Angel Hernandez put his fist up and throw people out of the game when that's the last thing people come to see. I think all of this getting blown way out of proportion, which is what I think is happening right now, based on Angel Hernandez's sensitivity, is ridiculous. We can't play to the lowest common denominator in this equation, which is Angel Hernandez, and then use that to spark a conversation of completely changing the game, which in my opinion has not ever been broken. Are there bad calls? Of course. Are we going to argue when there's one right on the back of the plate and a pitcher's been pumping that part of the plate all game long? And all of a sudden the robot, nope, it was a millimeter this way. We're still going to have gripes with calls on a robotic strike zone. I just think the idea of a robotic strike zone is so unbaseball.
Yeah,
it's so inherently unbaseball. Baseball is personalities coming together to play a game that has sort of evolved over the years in such a beautiful way that to then put robots in charge of calling balls and strikes, I think will just be such a loss for humankind, let alone our national pastime.
Watching tennis now, you can challenge a call.
Right.
And the way they're able to review the call so fast.
They kill it. Tennis kills it. Hockey's really good at it.
How could we not get to that point with baseball? Because you and I were sitting and watching the Red Sox and the Yankees, two of the blue bloods of all of sports.
Weird strike zone yesterday with Chris Sale. Weird strike zone. Chris Sale was getting pinched.
No doubt about it. And then Chris Sale, who was minus 270 in that game, because that's something I always look at, he ends up getting shelled out of his realm. Because I'll tell you, the human part of Chris Sale, how could he throw those pitches that were strikes in the first inning and that not affect the rest of his game? It did. No doubt about it. I think that game was a prime example of it. At least with the box, you could always just keep going back to the box because it wasn't in the box.
I think the algorithm of different size players, Altuve's zone to Aaron Judge's zone, how you figure that out.
That has to be important. I agree with that. So if we're going to do this, let's not just have, and you and I grew up on the East Coast, where we went down to the schoolyard and we just drew like this giant box. It was like, any way you hit it, I used to throw it really high. It would like just bounce. Kind of
just got to get in the box.
No, so you would have to adjust the box. The technology would have to be very important.
Right.
But in those other sports, it's really good, Dylan.
Yep, it certainly is. It's hard for me to argue. Tennis, it kills it. Hockey, it kills it. I think NFL football has completely ruined the replay system. But for me, my own personal opinion, I just think that bringing robots in to umpire the strike zone would be a loss for baseball. Tell us what you think. Use that hashtag, the rally. We always love hearing from you.